Okay, so I'm just going to jump right into it because I've got an exciting episode and we're going to be talking about the carbonated body. So if you're watching this, I'm holding up the book that is not even released yet. I've got the author of this book, The Carbonated Body, on the show, and we're going to dive into all things carbonated body, CO₂. We've got the CO₂ inhaler device that's right here beside me. And we're going to be talking about the body stream and something I just recently learned while we were checking in before we started recording, which is that there's the CO₂ sauna device as well. So
welcome to Simply Walk the Talk. Our bodies and minds adapt to what we do most of the time. If you want to change your body and mind, you must change what it is you do most of the time. This podcast explores all things health, wellness, fitness, lifestyle, and biohacking. Stay tuned as we explore various thoughts, methods, and experiences from a multitude of conversations between our interesting guests and experts through many fields of work. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Simply walk the talk. Simply walk the talk.
we have the author and my good friend, Mr. Steve Scott, on the show. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Excited to talk about it.
Yeah, so I know we've been talking about this for quite some time because we met. I can't remember when it was we met, but I think it was sometime during the pandemic. I remember during the pandemic is when I was doing a lot of research of my own in terms of oxygen and carbon dioxide and the differences and the several benefits. And I knew that boosting oxygen would be great for the body, but then I never really considered the carbon dioxide piece to it, right? And in some scenarios, the carbon dioxide is just as important, if not more important. And so that's when I started to understand that you can do these dry baths and you can even inhale it. So I'll shut up because that's why you're here. You're here to talk me through all of this. And part of the reason why I have a lot of these devices and this technology is because of you. So I want to applaud you for the things that you've put out there. I'm happy that you so graciously sent me a pre-release copy of The Carbonated Body.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, I have not read it. I have not even had a chance to open it. Well, I opened it because you so graciously sent me this beautiful note that you typed up that came with this. And I flipped through it. I noticed that it's quite thick and very dense. So for all you data nerds out there and all the people who really want to see the science, here, go get it. Okay. Anyway. Let's talk about your background.
Yeah. So, I guess, what do you want to know? Like, I basically, I have my degrees in psychotherapy, but then after that, I started a software company.
Okay.
And I did have schooling at the university in like physiology and anatomy, and like was going into the physical therapy track for a while. And after I got my master's, I started a software company and started developing some software for like ads and stuff like that, like for advertising online. That was back in like 2005-ish, and that did pretty good. And then I've always been a self-learner, so I've been learning about physiology and how to optimize my performance. And my mom has had some health problems, and other friends and family have had health problems. I've always been interested in health and learning about it. So I'm mostly self-taught. I've been learning about this. I started learning about CO₂ probably back in about 2009, 2008-ish.
Okay.
And it just piqued my interest as something that no one really knows about, but it's like super important to health and optimizing your health. And yeah, there's been some stuff in the past, like over the last couple hundred years or throughout history, like even like carbonated baths and whatnot. And it's been used therapeutically throughout the 1900s for various different things. And I just thought it was something very powerful that people don't really know about. And it's something that, like you said, to me, it's just as important as oxygen, if not more important, almost, in a sense.
Said. Well said. I think it's cool because whether a person likes the term biohacking or not, you kind of represent like a true biohacker in that you got your start in physical therapy and physiology and things like that.
Mhm.
And then went over into software engineering and working with software, which is almost the literal definition of like biohacking, right? Like
Yeah, true, yeah,
which,
yeah.
which is kind of interesting because my thoughts on the term biohacking has become convoluted a little bit, and I think it has a lot of like negative connotations. I think so. I try to stay away from that a little bit, but I like how you
Mhm,
mentioned being able to like optimize. And if we are talking about optimization, if we are talking about leveraging all the things that we have at our disposal, sometimes it's important to be made aware of the things that we have at our disposal because sometimes we don't realize, like, for instance, one of the old school ways of biohacking someone being overly anxious and over breathing,
mhm.
for instance, having a panic attack. One of the common things a person would have done back in the day was take a paper bag and have them
Yeah,
breathe
exactly,
into
yep,
it, right?
yeah.
Well, there's no magic in the paper bag. The
Mhm.
the magic is actually rebreathing your CO2.
Right, exactly, yeah, that's a good it's a good example because people know about the paper bag thing, and they don't realize that it's the CO2 that's helping them calm down,
Yeah.
and
So I think that's a really good lead in to this
Mhm.
very, very fun device. Um, and I say it's fun, but I want people to know that there are some things that we need to take seriously, right?
Yeah, it is a
So
serious product, yeah, I mean,
this
you can't overdo it, it's
yes. So I'm gonna pull up the website. So for those that are listening, I'm gonna be going to the carbogenetics.com. So that is the website. And on that website, there's a lot of things you can find from different products to different, like some science stuff, the different. So here's the example of the body stream. We'll talk a little bit about that. Right now, we're talking about
Mhm,
the CO2 inhaler. And then this is the other thing I mentioned in the intro, which is the supercharged CO2 therapy meets infrared power. This one, I'm like, oh, this is exciting because this is right up my alley. And I love sauna, and I didn't even know you had this. So shame on
mhm,
me for not even checking out the website. But right now, I was alluding to this whole paper bag effect. And I feel
yeah,
like what I have up on the screen now, the CO2 inhaler, this is a really cool way to sort of mimic that, but also to mitigate some of the intensities of it or not. So I'll shut up.
right.
Please, why don't you talk us through this?
Yeah, the CO2 inhaler is something like the paper bag, you're just breathing a constant level of CO2, and eventually you're not getting enough oxygen, and it's the CO2 inhaler, you can actually fine tune the control of the CO2 anywhere from 0 to 8.5%, which is much more than what you would get in a paper bag. And by by breathing, by you can control the time, the percentage, you can do intervals, you can quickly be at at 1%, and then you can quickly increase it to like 8% for like 10 seconds and kind of like do intervals where you're going to be breathing faster. CS2 is like the stimulus to breathe. And what he has in the picture there is actually a soda stream canister. So that's well, you can get those at Target or Walmart. When I go on vacation somewhere, I bring my CO2 inhaler and I just stop at Target or have one shipped to where I'm at. And from Amazon, you can get it from Amazon too. You can have it shipped from Amazon, and I you just hook up the CO2 canister from SodaStream, and you can control the levels of CO2 that you're breathing with the regular air.
Yeah, the,
And
the hose
that's the
just
machine
goes
right there. It's
the hose just goes from the canister to the CO2 inhaler device. It's very
yeah,
lightweight, and and then you just have to have like electrical power,
it's
right?
12 volts, 12 volt yeah, power adapter. Yeah.
Yep. And then you've got the cannula, but with this is the cannula that covers the mouth and nose, which I think is important
It is,
personally.
it is. The formula for the percentage takes into account the size of the holes on the masks too, so it's important to use the mask, not a cannula.
Boom. There we go. See, this is why
Yep.
I was excited to have you on because in case I was doing something wrong, I knew you'd be able to kind of tell me
Right.
like, well, don't do it that way. So,
Yeah.
and I love being able to have someone like you that almost anytime I've needed to ask you a question or reach out, you've always been available. So it's a
Mhm.
shame that we're just now recording a podcast, but I'm happy that we are now because
I mean, it's
my
a good time now with the book coming out and stuff like that, so it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So the I happened to do because I wanted to make sure everything was set up and working properly before this episode.
Mhm.
I did a quick little session. I did a 5-minute session before today's
Okay,
podcast,
okay.
and and again, I like to be fully transparent because I don't want to. I don't want people to think that like I have all these tools and devices and I use every single one of them every single day. It would be
Mhm.
impossible, and I would look like a fraud, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't used this in a while, but I think it's kind
Mhm.
of cool because I feel like I haven't needed to use it in a while. I like to use this when my body is kind of calling for it. So usually that looks like when I'm training for an event coming up and I want to
Yeah.
boost my performance,
Mhm.
uh, or there's times when I feel like I'm a little bit out of breath when I'm doing normal things like going up to
Yeah, yeah.
the stairs. Then I'm like, you know what? This is my body giving me that check engine light to go back and do some more training. You know,
Mhm.
but then
Right,
there's other
exactly,
people that
so
might use it for other reasons. Can you maybe talk about some other ways people might want to use it?
yeah, well, for like you said about improving your performance, I have a coach, athletic trainer out in, California. He works with, like, the very top, like, UFC fighters and whatnot, and he's using it daily to, like, help them increase their CO2 tolerance, recover from works out. He also uses the suit to recover from workouts and whatnot, and I have, other, like, professional NFL players, different athletes using it and whatnot, and then as far as for myself, I have one sitting at my desk, so if I'm, like, feeling mentally sluggish, breathing the CO2, like, depending on what percentage you do, you can increase the blood flow to your brain by 75 to, like, 150%. So that's, like, almost doubling the amount of blood you're getting to your brain, and CO2 is helping the oxygen get to the cells in your brain and just into the tissue, so it's CO2 is gonna help you think clearer, like, if I'm feeling stressed, like, if it's something's going on that's kinda stressful, it helps me like you talk about the paper bag, it calms you down so you can, like helps you relax and, like, just get more energy, like, more like, real not, like, caffeinated energy, but more real energy, and, I have people using it for, I'm not claiming it cures cancer, but I do have a lot of people with cancer using it,
Well,
all kinds of different
eh,
conditions. My mom is using it and the suit for her osteoporosis because it does help
ooh,
increase bone density. Um,
mm.
just, glaucoma, just all kinds of things, and anything that, like, is gonna help by getting more oxygen to the cells more efficiently, that's you're gonna get the same benefit from the CO2 'cause, CO2 helps CO2 is really an oxygen therapy almost, like, it helps oxygen get to the cells and be the oxygen be utilized. So you could have, like,
Yes.
100% oxygen saturation on your, like, SpO2 reading or, like, your pulse oximeter, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the oxygen's actually getting to the cells. So
Right.
CO2 is what helps open up the vasculature, the capillaries, and helps deliver the blood to your tissues, and then it releases the oxygen from the hemoglobin into the cells, and then it helps it through the electron transport chain and whatnot, and
This is a really cool part of what I like to do when I'm talking to people about the importance of breathing
Mhm,
and the importance of nasal breathing versus mouth breathing, right? And so there's this exercise routine that I like to do called the NO dump, which it stands for nitric oxide dump. And you probably already know about this, but for people who don't know about this, I think it's interesting that a lot of people think it's the exercises that actually create that NO effect, the nitric oxide effect, and it's not. The whole point of doing that exercise, that set of exercises, or any other type of exercise and breathing nasally is so that you can improve upon your CO2 tolerance, therefore
mhm,
giving you more capacity to bring oxygen to the tissues. And so I like to
yeah,
use this analogy of like CO2 is almost like the boat on the river of blood, right?
mhm,
And oxygen sits on that boat, right? So
yeah,
the more carbon dioxide you have, the bigger the boat, which means the more oxygen carrying capacity you have, right? Or the more
mhm,
boats you can carry, right? And so this I know is very, very, like, dumbed down, but sometimes people need to understand that in some way, and so I have all these analogies in my back and, like, sort of in my back pocket so I can talk about that. The
Yeah.
brown paper bag effect is another one that I like to talk about, and then people
Mhm.
start to think, "Oh, okay." So, as a trainer, as a health coach, when I'm working with someone visually, so whether it's virtually on the computer or phone or I'm in person, I'm looking at their breathing. And I can usually tell when I've maxed someone out, I've kind of tapped into that sympathetic nervous system state, which is
Yeah.
sometimes what we're trying to go for as soon as they open their mouth, right? Or I can say from the very beginning that if I'm working with a new client, I notice that they're a mouth breather, there's probably lots of other situations. They're probably chronically stressed. They probably don't
Mhm.
get good sleep. They may have sleep apnea. There's so
Yeah.
many things, dehydration, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Um, so I know I just spit out a lot. I think we've belabored the CO2 inhaler, right?
Mhm.
You talked about the ease of use and the fact
Yeah.
that you can start out. I think you suggest people start off at like 1%, which is easy to mitigate, right?
Yeah, 1%, and the thing is when you do the lower percentages, you wanna try to breathe through your nose and not breathe too fast, because even at 1%, if you're hyperventilating too much, you can potentially breathe off more CO2 than you're actually inhaling, which is can be a problem. So you wanna start at a low level and you wanna try to retain as much as you can. You wanna breathe, like, through your nose, breathe slowly. Once you get above 3%, then it doesn't matter how much you breathe. You can breathe as fast as you want, and you're still gonna be getting more CO2 than you're exhaling.
Yeah. That's so I'm around the 5% range. I
Okay.
like 5% I like, but
Yeah, yeah.
5% for 5 minutes is different than 5% for 10 minutes or longer, right?
Right, right,
Um,
exactly. And you can do intervals too, so if 5% is uncomfortable for you, you could just crank it up, like, takes, like, less than a second to get up to 5% and just breathe that way for, like, 10 seconds, and then bring it back down until your breath restores to normal, and then you can, like, crank it up a little bit. You can do, like, intervals like that to help you train your CO2 tolerance. There's just a lot of different ways to use it. You don't have to just select, like, 5% and do it for, like, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You can go with 8% for, like, 5
for some
seconds,
time.
whatever you wanna do, yeah.
That's really, really nice, and I think, trying like, CO2 tolerance is a really good term that a lot of people are starting to understand more, and a lot
Mhm.
of people are understanding it more, I think, because there's a lot of breath work happening in today's world, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of, mouth taping and things like that, and so
Mhm.
it's like, you can use this I personally, I think you can use this to help leverage your CO2 tolerance faster. That's what I've noticed. Now, I don't know if this is
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
science or whatever, but for me, when I've ever wanted to like, I had to do this. I got a chance to do this amazing opportunity where we went hiking with Vivo Barefoot and Air Libre in the back country of British Columbia near
Mhm.
Whistler. And I knew we were going to be at elevation. And I did a bunch of training on this before going there, but I still did everything else. I still did my hyperbaric oxygen chamber because I remembered if I have more oxygen carrying capacity, then what
Yeah.
can my body do with more oxygen? Pressurized
Mhm.
oxygen with better oxygen carrying capacity. And
Right,
then
right.
I leveraged all the like blue green algae and the chlorophyll and all the different things. And then I did so well at that that the last thing I had to worry about was my breathing. And then a buddy of mine, he hit me up, my buddy Philip, he also works at Vivo. He and a group of friends are doing Kilimanjaro soon, I think in a couple of weeks. So he was
Mhm.
just like, "Yo, you think I could maybe benefit from using the CO2 inhaler?" I was like, "Absolutely, absolutely." So
Yeah,
I gave them
yeah.
some strategies to also do it without having it. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
On the, using it for, like
Yeah, like I know there's a benefit in recovery because you pointed that out, right? You pointed out that like a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
the athletes are using it to recover, which is great.
Right, like, I had a bodybuilder last year, he won Mr. Olympia all around, in the amateur level, and he used it for recovery after his workouts. So he would use a suit and it, like, help reduce the inflammation after workouts, and he could actually work out harder the next day because he could recover faster
Ooh,
in
so
that sense.
that's almost like a doping effect without the doping, huh?
Yeah, yes. And as far as like improving your CO2 tolerance, when you're working out, you're going to be breathing. You'll be able to breathe through your nose um, at a lot higher intensities of exercise. So you're going to be when you're breathing through your nose, you're getting more pressure in the thoracic cavity. So you're pushing the blood to your extremities. You're getting better oxygenation to your cells. When if you're exercising and you're like breathing through your mouth, you're breathing out a lot of your CO2, and you're going to get more vasoconstriction. You're going to get less blood flow to your tissues, less oxygen to your tissues while you're working out. So it's important to be able to breathe through your nose and to have high CO2 tolerance when you're working out or as an athlete or if you're mountain climbing or whatever.
Well said.
So
And obviously, there's going to be points in which you do go into that switch, right, into that mouth breathing section. But by that point,
yeah, right, but
right?
it's at a higher intensity than it was
Exactly.
before.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the whole tolerance piece, right? So the whole point, and this is where the whole conversation, not that I utilize it or I think it's a big marker, but it is a marker that some people do rely on, and that's VO2 max. I've
Hmm.
noticed that my VO2 max improves when I use
Yeah,
this. So
yeah,
there
and
you
I
go.
hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now I have on the screen the body stream. So I wanted to show the body stream, and some of you probably have seen me using this. It's been a while, but that's mostly because I had to make some changes with mine and I haven't gotten it back yet. I was using this quite a bit. And then when I got the CO2 inhaler, I realized, well, maybe this is a little bit easier for me personally.
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
However, when I was using this throughout my body, and when I'm saying this, everyone that's not watching, it's this big suit that looks like a diver suit, and it's fully sealed so
Yeah.
that you can remove all of the air, all of the oxygen, and then you
Hmm.
flip the switch essentially, and then pump it full of CO2 until it puffs
Yeah.
up like the marshmallow man. Can you talk
Yeah.
about
Yes.
let's talk about it a little bit more in depth so that people
Sure.
understand why it's important.
Yeah, the CO2 suit. I think you have one of the older versions. Some of those pictures have the older version where you had like a silicone seal around it, and it was hard to use for different neck sizes. Like you could have like someone could have a real tiny neck, and then like your partner could have like a really big neck, and it wouldn't for the smaller person it wouldn't seal around the neck. So the new version, I need to get you one of those. It's adjustable neck, so you can have use it with people with different sized necks. It's kind of
Ooh.
straps around and um
Do
so
you have
yeah, so
a picture of that?
um
I mean, if not, it's okay, but
let
I'm
me
just
see.
just
Just scroll up. I can't remember if it's on the I should though. It's a good point. I should.
no, no, it's
Click
just
on the you click on the body stream page itself.
oh, got it. Up here. Body stream. Yeah,
That one's the old one.
these are
Some of
old
those are the
ones.
old ones. Let's scroll down. Um yeah, actually it's a good point. We need to get the newer one on the website so people understand that because it's a
Oh,
common
good.
problem for people having the one size neck that doesn't fit all.
Yeah, it was a
Um,
problem for me, but for me, like I try not to complain and worry about it too much because I think the benefit far outweighed the difficulties. But the
yeah,
reason why it
yeah.
was difficult for me was because of my hair.
Was the hair? Yeah, the old one would stick to your hair. If you have long hair, it's gonna stick to your
Oh
hair and like
man, and
all that. And
my hair is
the new
already
one, it's
yeah.
yeah, the new one just comes over the head very easily. Doesn't stick the hair at all. You just strap it around. It's works much
so
nicer. So
so it's helpful in the auto asphyxiation, I guess.
right, yeah.
Anyway, okay, all right. So
So the CO2 suit, you're absorbing the CO2 transdermally through the skin, and you're getting like for some reason I don't know exactly why it happens, but it's usually extremely relaxing for people, almost creating like an altered state of like mind when they're in it. It's like some people have like healed trauma when they're in there, or some people just go into like an altered state, or I could be at like the busiest like conference at like A4M or something, and people when they're in there they just fall asleep because it's so relaxing. And
yeah,
so you're getting like a very deep parasympathetic state. So um like when sometimes I would sleep in it at times, and I'd measure my HRV, and my HRV would over double what it normally is just from being sleeping in the suit. So it's very extremely relaxing, and which when that happens, it allows more blood flow to your tissues. There's when you're in a very high uh, sympathetic state, where the sympathetic ganglion are creating like um, von Willebrand factor in the blood, and it's combining with like different blood factors, like factor VIII in the blood, and it's creating these like insoluble fibrin strands. It's kind of like capturing the red blood cells when they're in the capillaries, like, and it's kind of like reducing, creating friction or like reducing blood flow to the cells. So when you're in a parasympathetic state, you're opening up everything, your blood vessels, your capillaries, you're reducing that like those microvascular like netting clot type stuff that's kind of clumping the red blood cells together. So you're getting more blood flow to your tissues. You're getting more oxygen to your tissues from the suit, and the CO2 when you're elevating your CO2 levels. That's CO2 is like it's like a, a buffer in a sense, like in the uh, electron transport chain, or like anywhere, like in the electron transport chain, there's like the pH, the proton gradient, which you need to stabilize for like the electrons to flow through to oxygen, and CO2 helps stabilize that proton gradient, um, and allow the oxygen to flow more smoothly, and allow like NHD to release electrons and revert back to NAD plus and whatnot. And so a lot of like people take like a lot of supplements like NAD plus, but really you need to fix the electron transport chain in the whole system, so that electrons flow through and not just get clogged up, and not the
Yes.
oxygen not being utilized. So CO2 is going to help that oxygen be utilized, and it's going to make it so that electrons don't short circuit in a sense, and like be released too early, and like cause like reactive oxygen species and whatnot. And so it kind of reduces inflammation, reduces reactive oxygen species, and does a lot of different things. So CO2 is very stabilizing to the whole system, and that does it in the mitochondria and the electron transport chain, but it does it where in all membranes of all cells of um, all liposomes, any any cell or part of a cell, they have these gradients, and CO2 helps stabilize those gradients in a sense.
Okay, for people who are listening and watching, this is why that book is so thick because Steve is trying to explain something that is very, very difficult for most people to even understand. And to try to make that understandable for the widest group of people is very, very difficult. So
Hmm.
you've got that in the book, but there's also a lot of protocols in here and
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of
Especially in the last
instructions.
chapter. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I really can't stress enough to get the book so that you don't have to rely on my testimonial or the website's testimonial, so you can have your own experience. And this kind of what led to this point of us being here is because I saw you at the last biohacking conference, or maybe it was the one
Hmm.
before. But anyway, I saw you at
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
biohacking conference events,
Hmm.
and I was excited to see you because I hadn't seen you since before that. The time I saw you was when we were together. I invited you to Roger Waters' concert
Yeah,
in
right. Yeah,
in
yeah.
in
Yeah.
Milwaukee, right?
It
Was
was, it was.
it
Yeah.
was
I came with my daughter, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was amazing. So that was a chance for us, like, because we had known of each other and we had been working together and talking on the phone and exchanging emails and all
Hmm.
these things, but we had never met. And so when we got a chance to meet and I got a chance to meet your daughter, it was super cool because like this is why I like doing what I do, is because I love to build community. And here we are. Who knew that we'd be hanging out, rocking out at a concert together,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
starting with
That's true,
CO2
man.
of all things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so then I saw you again at one of the more recent biohacking conferences, and you were like, "Oh, have you tried the CO2 inhaler?" And I was like, "Well, I've tried a version of it, but I just I if I'm being completely honest, I didn't really do it right, or I wasn't focused on doing it right. I had been frazzled. I had so many things going on." And so you were like, "Well, this might be the perfect time to try it. So if you got some
Mhm.
time, why don't you come to the booth? I went to your booth and I tried it, and immediately I was like, "Whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
what a difference." And you
Yeah.
I don't know if you recall this, but I definitely recall it. I had one of my colleagues with me, and I just broke out into this sweat, and it was almost as if my body was just like off gassing or offloading the shit, right? Like just offloading
Yeah,
everything that
yeah.
didn't need to be in me. And then I
Yeah.
had this most profound relaxation effect come over me, like a warm hug. And for the rest of that conference, I was like, bing, biddy, bing, bing, bing. It wasn't like scattered energy. It was like
Mhm.
focused energy, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah,
It
yeah.
was really cool, man. It was really
Yeah, I find
cool.
that a lot 'cause, yeah, yeah, I do remember that you were, like, sweating and
I was sweating like crazy, trying to be
yeah.
trying to be normal. um,
So
but again, I'm glad that that happened because that's what led us to being here. And so I got the CO2 inhaler. I did some content on it. I've been using it. I love it. I was
mhm.
also last weekend randomly. I was at a certification course with the folks at Motion, and the group that are working with the EQ Flux company, EQ Flux Wave, EQ Flux Pro, blah blah blah. And Dr. Sean Drake, he's also a part of that. And his
Mhm,
group are
mhm.
the ones that are taking over all of the like certifications and distribution. And at one part of the lecture, Josh Park was talking about CO2. And I'm like, oh, yeah, CO2. I know a lot
What?
about CO2.
Sean you said, Sean Drake or Josh something
Sean
or
Drake.
Josh?
So
Oh, Sean Drake was talking about it, yeah, yeah.
Josh Park was talking about it because he was giving the
Okay,
lecture,
okay.
but
Yeah, yeah.
just randomly as a part, because Josh is very brilliant, like, he knows a lot, and so
Mhm.
he was touching on a piece of the importance of breathing, and in that piece, any person who knows about proper breathing protocols, you can't help but talk about CO2 if you're going to talk about oxygen, and if you're going to talk about breathing, right? And then
Yeah.
when he starts talking about CO2, he was like, "Yeah, there's some companies out there that are doing cool things in the space of CO2." And so I pulled up the photo of you sending me the book, and I show
Mhm.
it to Josh, to Sean Drake, because he was
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
audience with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yo, Sean, look." And he was like, he sent me one too.
Right.
Right. So I was like, okay, cool. So you've
Yeah.
got the book out there a little bit. So there's a few of the lucky ones who get a chance to kind of read it if we actually crack it open and read it. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
happy.
yeah, I just wanna send it so people get some feedback and whatnot, and then,
Yeah.
publish it in probably, like, 3 or 4 weeks
Okay.
from now.
So in 3 or 4 weeks, let's see if anything changes from here. But one thing I do know is that there is a lot of science and there's a lot of examples of the power of CO2. And so we've talked
Mhm.
about the CO2 inhaler or the CO2 trainer, whatever it's going to be called.
Yeah, yeah.
We've talked about the carbonated body. That's the name of your book. We've talked about the
Mhm.
body stream device, which is that CO2 dry bathing. We call it a
Yeah,
dry
yeah.
bath because you're not getting wet. But
Yeah.
just to quickly wrap that up, some of the things people can expect, at least from me, like the way I would do it, I would always make sure that you're well hydrated. I think that's important. You also
Mhm.
want to make
Yeah.
sure that you are in a comfortable space, and that like, because the last thing you want to do is have to get up and pee or whatever, because
You're right, exactly, yeah, yeah.
right, I almost fall
Yeah.
asleep every single time I do it, right?
Mhm.
So if I
Yeah, it's
know
very common, yeah.
Yeah, so if I know I'm gonna fall asleep, then I wanna, like, set myself up for that. And then there's times when I would stack the hack because I like to stack things.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
not, right? So if I'm gonna be in this situation where I'm gonna be relaxing for, let's say, 45 to 90 minutes, which, depending on how long the CO2 stays inflated, you can always top up,
Mhm.
right? We know that.
Yeah.
You can always top up.
Yeah.
But let's say that I know I'm gonna be there for 45 minutes, then what I
Yeah,
like to
and
do,
just a quick about you talk about it being deflated or, like, absorbing the CO2 over time.
absorbing it,
I do
yes.
have a new, I have the new one has, I need to get you this also. It has a remote control. It has 2 remote controls. It has one a wireless remote control and a wired remote control. So the wireless one you can take inside of the suit with you, and you can press the button and it'll add more CO2 in there, and it has some safety mechanisms, so if you drop it, it's going to turn off after a minute. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, I dropped it. It's
Oh,
the CO₂ is
wow.
going to come in forever. So it's like,
Wow, that's you've made some pretty big upgrades.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so you've changed the neck feature, you've changed the zipper feature.
Yeah. Zant change the zipper. So it's
Um,
easier to get in. And then I have a control box where it has a wired remote control where you can like keep outside of the suit and just like use that. But you also have one that has a wristband on it. It goes around your wrist and it has
a
two
clicker.
buttons on it for the vacuum and the CO₂. So you can like just add more CO₂ while you're in there. So make it
That's
really
great.
easy.
Another thing that I recall, again, maybe you've made some changes here, but trying to understand just how many uses you're gonna get, so
Hmm.
most people who've never used something like this, you've gotta get a CO2 canister, right?
Hmm.
And I
Right.
got
For that the soda stream is going to be too small. The one that you
ex
showed earlier.
exactly, exactly. So,
And
yes.
so for that one, you need to get a beverage grade CO₂ tank, and I recommend getting a 20-pound tank, which is about like 2 feet tall. And if you think about like every restaurant, movie theater, like gas station in an area that has those fountain drinks, they all have like 20-pound CO₂ tanks essentially, and they're all getting it locally. So that means you know that if all these companies like probably down the corner from you, there's a gas station, and they have a fountain drinks that they're getting like 20-pound, 10-pound CO₂ tank locally usually from a welding supply store. And that
There's a tank.
that tank where I live, it cost me 30 there. Yeah, there's a picture of one right there. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. So that's the
I was
suit.
in Sweden, so they're a little bit different there, but
Yeah. But you get the gist, right? It's like there's got all these
yeah.
controls. It's gonna be well explained and,
Yeah, it comes with everything you need except for the tank, and it's gonna
except for
last
the
you
tank.
probably 20 sessions or so, one
20
tank. And
sessions of
for me it costs $30 to refill it where I
okay.
live. So if it's gonna last you 20 sessions, it's like a little bit over $1 per session, so it's pretty inexpensive.
And how long is that session typically for you?
I do it for an hour.
You do it for an hour. Okay. So,
Yeah.
again, what he's talking about is there what I used to use as like a standard of like my time would be just when I wake up, I'm like ready to get out of it, or when
Mm,
it's quote unquote, I'm putting it in quotes, deflated,
yeah.
because it's not fully it has a deflated effect, but it's not that the CO2 is escaping. Our body, our tissues are absorbing that CO2,
Right, right, exactly.
right?
And
And
there is one other new feature that I do have that it comes with a like a waterproof suit that you go in first, and then it velcros around where the valve is,
thank you.
and then it has a zipper in there that's and you go in there the CO₂ comes into that suit, which is not airtight, but you're still absorbed surrounded by the CO₂. And then the suit that you wear, it still goes up to your neck, and then you can wash that, and then you don't have to worry about washing the inside of the suit and whatnot. And so if you have like a lot of clients or just using it by yourself, you don't have to like one of the problems with the previous one is it was a little bit you'd have to like turn it inside out and like hand wash it essentially
That
to
was the
clean
problem
it.
for
And
me. That I'm
yeah.
so glad you brought that up because that was a big problem for me. Well, not a big problem, but that
Mhm.
ultimately ended up being the reason why there was some cracking around the hands because I had
Yeah, there are different gloves now actually too.
yeah,
So
I was flipping it in and out. I guess too much or I don't know, but I didn't know any other way
yeah.
to like clean it because I'm a sweater. And
Hmm.
those a couple times, like the first few times I was using it, it was as if like I was playing a basketball game. I was dripping in sweat. And so I was just trying to think like, okay, at some point this is not going to be nice. And just so you know, or so people know, you
Yeah.
do not have to be naked when you go inside because CO2 is a small enough particles to be able to get through
It does. Yeah,
to the
yeah.
body. Yeah. So
I have people say that when they go in naked, it feels different. It feels better that way. I mean, even though it
really,
goes through the clothes, that's what people have told me. So, but I mean, essentially, it does go through the clothes. It should
okay,
have the same
okay.
effect wearing clothes. But if you are going in, I'd recommend just wearing like if you can't be naked, wear like some shorts and maybe like a
Tank top or
no
something.
shirt or a t-shirt or something like that, or
Got it.
where you have more skin exposed.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely try that. Um,
And
and I
then
think
yeah, so
that's
the replaceable the thing that you wear inside of it, you just you just come out with that, and then you can put it in the washing machine and clean it, and you can get multiple ones of those. Like you can have a couple of them, like where you have a clean one, then wash one or whatever. Like you can get as
nice.
many of those as you want. So
So it's like essentially like a liner.
we're like a liner, yeah, essentially, yeah.
Okay.
But you put it on first, and then you get in
Yeah.
wearing that.
All right. Perfect. So that's the body stream. Now I
Mhm.
want to spend this last bit of time going over. Let's go over the sauna that you've created, and
Yep.
let me pull that up because this is it's very new to me. And you may have
Mhm.
told me about it, but I am just now understanding it. So yeah, talk me through this.
Yeah, so that's the sauna version. You're actually there's a chair in there, and you're sitting down inside of it, and you're surrounded by infrared panels. So you're getting infrared heat. So you're getting the benefits. There's a lot of benefits to like infrared heat itself or infrared light. Um, and it's heating up your body. You can control the temperature up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
Wow.
and so what that does is that the heat, like when your skin is warmer, it actually creates better absorption of the CO2. So you're going to get better absorption of the CO2. But the real thing is that it causes you to sweat a little bit, and that extra water on your skin causes like the absorption of CO2 by like 4 or 5 more times. So if you're getting like 200, or if you're getting like 2 or 3 liters of CO2 absorbed through your skin, with the other one, you're going to be getting like closer to like 8 or 10 or like 7 to 10 liters inside. So you're getting a lot more CO2 with this one, and you're also getting like the combination of the heat and the CO2, you're getting more like expansion of your capillaries, blood flow, and like you're getting more oxygen's being released from the hemoglobin. So you're getting a lot more oxygen to the cells with this one. So it's like the next level of treatments. I had a back injury, and it's it really where I wasn't able to run. Every time I ran, my it would really hurt my back, and I did this for probably took about a few weeks, and that was healed up pretty quickly. And this is the one my mom's using it. Using it to help increase her bone density. So we did like a DEXA scan before she started using it, and then after 6 months, it hasn't been 6 months yet, but we're gonna see if there's an improvement in the bone density. And there's a number of reasons why it could potentially improve bone density, and it's going to reduce inflammation, recover from injuries, or a lot of different things. So it's a lot more powerful than the suit. It's not as relaxing because of the heat, but you're getting a lot more absorption of the CO2 and whatnot. And
Quick question. Is your mom doing anything else to augment the potential increase in bone density besides just using that? Is she doing like exercises or any sort of
she's doing some vibrational plate. So
perfect?
like
Perfect.
right now she'll sit on the chair and she'll just put her feet on the vibrational plate, and then she's at the point where now where she can stand on it for a little bit.
Perfect.
Um, After she started using the body stream for a while, she like both my kids noticed this. Like be previously, like a year ago, I used to go over there every Friday to her house, and like I'd have to like help her go everywhere, everything she needed to do. I have to help her. Like she had a gait belt, I have to hold her up, and now she doesn't wear the gait belt. And like my kids notice, like she practically jumps out of out of the chair now after. It
Wow.
doesn't that I don't need to go over that. My dad's there too, but he was working on Fridays, but so he's always there. But yes, it's noticed a big improvement, and her mental like capacity as well. Like she was showing some signs of dementia, and it's improved quite a lot using the sauna, and also the breathing machine too. She has the breathing machine. She has one sitting next to her chair where she like watches TV or reads a book or something. So she can just do like 5 minute sessions here or there throughout the day.
And so I just want to be clear on the sauna. Are you calling this sauna
Mhm.
stream? Is that what it's called? What is it?
It's just called the Body Stream Sauna version, I guess.
Okay,
Body
body
Stream
stream
Sauna.
sauna. Okay. So on the body stream sauna, um, it's lined with infrared light, but no
It
heating
is, yeah.
mechanism.
The it's a far infrared, so it produces its own heat.
Okay, got it. Okay. Only reason why I asked that is because I have this relaxed sauna like right here beside me,
Mhm.
and the
Yeah,
relaxed sauna.
it's a kinda similar in a way.
Okay, but the relaxed sauna, the difference is there's a heating mechanism inside of theirs. It gets really hot, and the most I can do
Yeah,
is
yeah.
20 minutes in that thing. Um,
Yeah.
Whereas with this, I would imagine you able to still get 45 minutes, an hour, or is that too much in this body stream sauna?
Um, I guess the more you do it, the probably longer you can go, like, after if I'm at the full temperature after 45 minutes, I'm like, "I'm ready to get out of there." I'm, like, soaking buckets. That's like
Yeah.
I got, like it's crazy how much I sweat in there, which is good for, like, getting rid of toxins and whatnot and all
And do
that,
you
but
wear the liner inside of that one as well?
no, because you wouldn't get the exposure to the infrared light. But there's a lining in there that goes around the infrared panels, and it has a removable lining that you can remove. It's
And
set
clean
up
it?
by Velcro, and it's goes into the arms and everything, and, um,
Okay, got it. I'm so
yeah.
interested. I'm very intrigued because, yeah, like I almost feel like I need to just make a trip to your lab,
Yeah, yeah, for
um,
sure, yeah.
or we got to get some products here in my lab. I feel like
Mhm.
this place is. I got to start selling some stuff because I really appreciate this concept of like not bringing anything else in until I get rid of things. I have
Yeah.
gotten rid of a lot of stuff recently. I got rid of about 4 boxes of things. And I
Mhm.
have another 2 boxes of things I want to get rid of. Not not
Yeah.
mentioning the several different devices. Like I have some cool devices that I want to get rid of.
Mhm.
Or maybe it turns into R&D projects because I have all
Right,
I'm
right.
I'm like you, or I'm similar to you because I know you are
Yeah,
on
yeah.
another level when it comes to creating
Well,
things.
I don't know. Yeah,
um,
I have a yeah, go ahead.
no, I enjoy tinkering, especially when I
Mhm.
can see that I'm getting benefit from something, you know? So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend who he's always trying to kill things, like, he's trying to, like trying to eliminate things, like, he doesn't wanna do, like, 15 biohacks per day, he just wants to find, like, the ones that are gonna have the most effect and the most benefit and maybe, like, 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, but he doesn't wanna be doing, like having a routine every morning where he does, like spends 2 hours doing different stuff, he just wants to keep it simple and find what works the best,
Yeah,
essentially.
I dig it. I dig it. Well, look, this has been fun for me, and I don't want this to be the end, right? Like, I definitely wanna have you back so we can talk more
Mhm.
about different things, and maybe we do a live where we go over the exact protocols of the different things, right?
Yeah,
And,
sure, yeah, we could do that, yeah.
and I feel like if as long as people are interested, right? Because maybe people aren't interested, but, you know, if you're listening or you're watching and you've understood some of the things that Steve has talked about, I think, like, basically we can help people to understand that inflammation is at the root of most, if not all, disease. And if
Mhm.
CO2 can help the body deal with inflammation, then why not at least explore it a little bit? And you can go with the lowest hanging fruit, which is breath hold and learning how to breathe properly on your own. Maybe doing some mouth tape, maybe figuring out how to better nasal breathe. Another step up from that could be getting Steve's book.
Yep.
Yeah, another step from that could be maybe starting with the CO2 inhaler, and then maybe from there getting the body stream, and then from there maybe getting the body stream sauna and creating your own, like, lab and sort of, really tap into all of it. Now, depending on what you're going through and what you want to work on will dictate what you end up getting. But there are things out there that don't really require a lot that can really help. So, um,
Mhm.
have I missed anything? Is there anything else that you really wanted to talk about that we should touch on before we wrap up?
No, I guess I think we covered most things. I just wanted to emphasize that CO2 is not a toxin. It's very essential for the body. We normally think of CO2 as the bad guy, and really oxygen is if you think about oxygen as a thing that we don't store any oxygen in our body, but we store a lot of CO2. Like everything we need, we store in our body, but oxygen is very reactive. It's to me is essential. Oxygen is essential, but it's more of a toxin than CO2 because CO2 is you can learn about it in my book, but it's so essential. It's one of the probably the most important one of the most important things that in our bodies.
That brings up a really good point, and I'll wrap on this. But most people have heard of the term oxidation. That should give you something
Mhm.
to ponder on.
Right.
Right. So,
Exactly.
okay, for people who want to know how to keep in touch with you and stay up to beat to all the
Yeah.
things that you have going on, where can they best find you?
Yeah, you can find me on carbogenetics.com. Probably the best place is Instagram. Look for search for Carbogenetics and follow us on Instagram. We have all of our updates there and all of the when the book gets released, it'll be talked about on Instagram and yeah, everything I do is on Instagram. So
And also, Steve has graciously and most kindly given the listeners and the followers of this show, Simply Walk the Talk, and my community, he's given out a discount code. It was a 10% discount code, and he's just recently upgraded it because we are doing some really cool things. So now you got a 15% off code by using code Josh at carbogenetics.com. So just stay on the lookout for a lot of things coming. And just since the last time that I talked to Steve, I've seen that there's already a couple of updates, one being the book, several updates with the body stream, and then the body stream sauna. Like, I can only imagine what's going to be next. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. And Steve, thanks for all that you do. And thanks for your time, buddy.
yeah, thanks, Josh. Really, really enjoyed it.
All right. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Simply walk the talk. Walk the talk, talking facts. Move like me, but I move a little fast. Make my move, here to last. Fasten these seatbelts, I'm coming past. Take care of me, longevity. Hack my biology, better believe. Walking the talk, soul, mind, and body connected. Better come give us a listen. Better come give us a minute or two. Open the box up, we giving you tools. Giving your engine the fuel that it needs. Breathing into it, it's autoimmune. Make a connection, we're stronger than two. Making us one of a kind of a few. Work on the mind, but show me your moves. If you do what you say, you know what to do. Yeah. Simply walk the talk.